Welcome back to Beyond Beauty with Stephanie. Today's conversation is one that's raw, real, and incredibly powerful. My guest, Mandi Jones, knows what it's like to walk through seasons of deep pain. Growing up in a home marked with alcoholism, navigating her own heartbreaks, facing 2 abortions, betrayal in marriage, and the weight of shame. Mandi's story doesn't end there. Through Al-Anon and a personal encounter with God, she found healing, redemption, and a purpose bigger than her past. Today, she not only shares her own journey, but also amplifies the story of others through her podcast, Monument Diaries. This is a conversation about brokenness, faith, and the beauty that comes from God's restoration. So whether you're in the middle of your own valley, or just need a reminder that healing is possible, this episode will meet you right where you are. Let's dive in. Thank you for joining me today. So before we dive in, how are you feeling about sharing your story?
I am super excited. Stephanie, thanks for inviting me to do this. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you. Super excited, so thanks.
I'm so excited to have you here. So for those who may not know you yet, can you give us a quick snapshot of who you are and what season of life you're in right now?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Mandi, and the season of life I'm in right now is I'm a new Christian, so that's super exciting.
Yay.
I was baptized in March of 2025, and
Love it.
yeah, so totally new season for me, that learning to listen to my calling and listen to God and see where that leads. Yeah, that's where I'm at today. Yeah, I'm a
I love that.
podcaster. I do some public speaking, talking about the gift of Al-Anon and how that has played a huge role in shaping me in my path to becoming a Christian. Yeah.
Yes, love it. Yes, and I've been on your podcast. It was the first time I was on a podcast. I was very nervous, but y'all made it such a wonderful experience. So you're doing awesome things. So I'm so excited about this.
Thank you. I am so grateful that God put us together.
Yes.
I feel like you and I were put together for a reason, and we became
Definitely.
fast friends. And I
Yes.
have very much been blessed to be able to call on you all the time in your faith. You've been a huge part of my faith walk. So thanks for having me here, and thanks for being on my podcast.
It's what we're supposed to do, right? Share our stories, share our faith, and bring people to Jesus. That's it. So let's start from the beginning. What was your childhood like growing up?
Ooh, my childhood. I used to hate talking about my childhood. It wasn't filled with super great things. Although I will say now, looking back on my childhood, I can see all the positive things that came out of it.
Yeah.
But it definitely shaped who I was. I grew up with active alcoholism. My parents both were drinkers, never at the same time randomly. Sometimes my dad was the drinker and then he'd get sober and my mom would drink. And then she would get sober and my dad would drink again. It was this crazy situation of alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I definitely know that the chaos of that shaped me as a person and shaped my belief system. I grew up with, both of my parents grew up Catholic. And when they married, they brought that into the household, but weren't practicing Catholics. They didn't go to church, they didn't do those things, but they brought some of those belief systems into the house with them. For example, my dad, even though he was drinking, would read the Bible to us. There was a picture of Jesus on the wall, and I would go to Monday Bible studies with all the local kids in my small town, and I feel like it was a very warped sense of Christianity. I had a very finger-shaking God is what I would have called him.
All the rules.
Legalism, which was sort of a new word for me in the last year. I didn't really understand that that's what it was. I'm so glad that I have a word to put on it now, that you don't have to behave a certain way and do all these things to be worthy of God's love and Jesus' love and all the things. And so, I grew up with a lot of duality. My dad would always say, do as I say, not as I do, because he definitely wasn't living and walking those Christian beliefs. But he expected it of me. And I never felt like I was worthy. I couldn't do things good enough. And of course, growing up in active alcoholism, I learned to try to be perfect. All the time for a variety of reasons. I would pray as a little kid and ask God all the time, hey, Help me.
Yeah.
I'm trying here, forgive me for anything that's going on, but also save me from all this craziness
Yeah.
that's going on in my house.
Oh my gosh, I so relate to that.
Yeah, and I think leading into my teenage years, I just kind of gave up on that belief system
Hmm.
because it just wasn't working. Nobody was answering my prayers, and things got crazier and crazier and crazier for me. And when
Yeah.
I say crazy, I just mean dysfunctional and chaotic, unsafe, all the things. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my childhood. A lot of mixed messages, really.
You hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. Just growing up, like, at least your dad was reading the Bible to you. I just hear a lot of people saying my parents would say they're Christians or claim to be, but just didn't live that lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, it's hard for us to 100%, right? We're all learning and in that journey, but I think there's extremes. And I just hear that a lot. And so it pushes people away from having a relationship with the Lord.
It does. I will say, looking back now and all the growing that I've done, of course, I'm almost 50. I can now say, and I didn't understand this phrase in the very beginning. It's funny, I interviewed one of my first guests and he used the words, the phrase mustard seed, and I didn't really understand that yet. But looking back now at my parents and their warped sense of Christianity and their legalism,
Yeah.
my dad was planting that mustard seed in me
Yeah.
that there was something out there. And maybe
Yes.
I didn't necessarily agree with the way in which it was being presented, but the idea of Christianity and the Bible and God and Jesus and all the things, there is that underlying sense of morality, the mustard seed,
Yeah.
all the things that now I can look back and think, oh, yeah, I'm kind of glad that I did get some of that foundation. Now,
Right.
unlearning some of the things that I don't necessarily believe in now, I am grateful now to my dad that he did plant that mustard seed,
Yeah.
that I can see that now, years and years later, that maybe I wouldn't be where I am had he not done that.
Right.
So,
And maybe it's a cycle. It's a cycle of that's all he knew.
for my dad, and looking at them, I'm not resentful. I'm not upset. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to think that I'm upset with my parents. As you said, were doing the best they could with the tools that
Yeah.
they had. I'm not upset in the least. I'm not resentful. I'm not angry. Once upon a time, yes, I was.
Hmm.
But through a lot of work, I am not anymore. So I think that's important to say
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
listeners.
Yeah. The older we get, the more we realize life is hard. It's
Well,
hard. So,
and I was really blessed to learn that early on. It wasn't, I was in my late 20s when I was able to let some of those things go, which I know we'll
yeah.
talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move forward a little bit. Let's talk about your teenage years. What were those
Yeah.
like?
My teenage years. Oh man, let's just say my teenage years through my 20s were
Yeah.
probably the hardest and most painful season of my life. People often say, what part of your life would you go back to? Everybody's like, oh, wouldn't you love to relive your high school years? No, no, I would not. There is nothing about those years that I can look back at and say, yeah, I'd love to do that again.
Oh man.
I took all of my dysfunction with me in every single interaction, relationship, whether it was romantic, friendship, work, that idea of alcoholism, that dysfunction with me. Nobody talked about how to grow as a person, how to be a better person. Nobody in my household taught me how to have a healthy relationship, to work on myself, any of those things. My dad was the king of, I'm upset with you, so I'm just not going to talk to you anymore. We're going to walk
Oh,
around the elephant in the living room, and I'm just
cold
going to give you
shoulder.
the silent treatment for days, the
Yeah.
walking around on
Yeah.
eggshells, trying not to upset anybody. And I took that into all my relationships because I didn't know how to have healthy relationships.
Yes.
I think I was also looking for someone to save me. And so there's this sense of, I'm looking for a white knight, an external solution. So this starts happening when I'm in high school. I mean, I start fantasizing about crazy things like maybe I'll meet somebody and we'll just go live in a double wide trailer because that would be better than living in this environment.
Yeah.
Do you see what
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
get that. I
I
100%.
I
Yeah.
lost all my hopes. I lost all my dreams. I definitely in high school there was no more sense of Christianity, God, Jesus, anything in my life anymore. None.
Yeah.
None that happens until I'm in my late 20s when I start thinking about that again. But so there's this period of 10, 15, 20 years almost where I am 100%, what do they call it? Self-will run riot. That's me.
Yeah.
I am the owner of my life. God, Jesus, no one is owning my life. It's me. And if it wasn't me, it was looking for that external solution, whether it was a relationship with a boy, drugs come into the picture, alcohol comes into the picture, smoking, trying to find the right people to fit in with. I go through exercise phases where it becomes my God, money becomes my God, professionalism, education, all the things that I think are going to save me, diet, looking a certain way, all kinds of things that geographical solutions that I want that solution to be. Like I never am looking, my eyes are not on God, my eyes are not on Jesus. None of those things are happening during that phase. And it's a painful season. The craziness that happens during those years is unbelievable. My bad decisions that I trying to do the next right thing, but it's never the right thing.
Right.
Never the right thing. There's a couple of years in there where I had an abortion, got myself in a bad situation when I was 16 with a boy. And I knew at 16, I was terrified. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have a baby, but I just didn't know. And so I had an abortion and it followed me for a really, really long, a really long time, really up until almost 48 years. And then I did it again. When I was in college, I had another relationship, and in that situation, I wanted to have the baby, but he didn't. And his main objective was, my parents are going to be disappointed in me. I don't want to have this baby. And so I do it again. And it was the demise of our relationship, right? Like, of course, it wrecked our relationship.
Right.
And so I do it again, not knowing better. And again, I've had to forgive myself, not knowing that.
Yeah. And that, like you said, that's something you live with for so long.
Oh, yes. The guilt and the shame. That was, man, it riddled my life. It has really riddled my life. And I think when young girls go through that, it's so easy to get an abortion. And I know people today, it's controversy about whether or not it's okay. And as a young person, I don't know that you're really counseled at all about what are the long-term effects. This might be a solution right now. Yeah. But it's long-term. How is that going to affect you? And I don't think that was ever a conversation with me at the time.
Right. Never. No, and I don't think it is. But that's why it's important to share our stories, right? And talk about things, because we just get more wisdom the older we get, and we can share that. And somebody might be listening and it might sink in. And I know I didn't listen to a lot of stuff that I heard when I was younger.
No, I know.
We have to learn on our own a lot.
That's right. You and I talked about that on my podcast about, I don't know if you would have given me advice and said, this is what it's going to do. I think for me, it would have been better having a handful of people there to say, this is what I did and this is how it affected me. Maybe it would have resonated more with me than someone saying, this is going to affect you this way. I needed the experience from someone else to say, man, this has really overshadowed all of my life. But you to your point, like sharing your testimony, that's the thing that we need. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely do. We need to I did anyhow. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I still do. I mean, and that's why I do this. I need to hear people's stories, and it's healing. It's healing for them. It's healing for you to share it. It was healing for me to share my story on your podcast, and just to know you're not alone. And because I think a lot of times as women, we just think that no one else is going through this, and they are. So
for sure. I know every time I listen to your podcast or a similar podcast where people are sharing their story, they're like, we talked about that idea of never say never. Yeah. I don't know what you're going through. Yeah. I don't know what you're going through. So it gives me a lot of grace to remember for other people too.
Yeah, 100%. I look at people a whole lot different than I used to. And grace that's my word. I'm like, I have so much more grace for people than I used to.
Me too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we talked about that too, but that's for another episode. So now you're how old after this second abortion? Like roughly?
Oh man, I was only in my early 20s when that happened. So I have that abortion, and again, it's going to set me on a path of just absolute self-destruction is what happens. Mm-hmm. And then, again, it's the drugs, it's the alcohol, it's looking for all the external solutions. It really is self-destruction.
Yeah.
It is how I would describe my life for the
Hurt
next,
and guilt.
the next 5-10 years is self-destruction and bad relationships. And oh man, surrounding myself with people who were not good for me. But again, that was what I was attracting. It wasn't
Yeah.
their fault. That was the energy I was putting out, and the kind of people that I was surrounding myself with just made the situation even worse. So I get into a marriage when I'm in my mid to late 20s. I marry a man who's just like me, and he's just as sick as I am. We bring two sick people to a relationship. Again, no God, no Jesus, no foundation of Christianity, nothing. Just two people who are sick trying to make a go at a relationship, which was doomed for disaster.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was doomed for disaster.
Yes.
Again, I'm not mad at him, just as I'm not mad at my parents. It was me. I was the common denominator in everything.
You're so funny.
I mean, I have all these problems. It's not them. It's obviously me. It was me. I am the common denominator of all of my problems. I'm the only one who is involved in all my problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead.
You two got married.
We married when I was, I don't know, 25 maybe.
Okay.
And there's no other word for it other than chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship was nothing but chaos. And my mom died. And really for me, that was the catalyst, the eye-opening, transformative moment was my mom passing away that starts to change the trajectory of my life. I should back up just for a second. When I was 22, right out of college, I moved to Texas. So I grew up in Ohio and I moved to Texas and I got a job after I graduated. Moved to Texas. I met this wonderful woman. Her name is Diane. And she just, to me, was a woman who behaved with nothing but grace and dignity. She was a kind human. She was honest. She was trustworthy. And I would have told you that she was the one person in all of my life that I truly felt admiration for.
Mm-hmm.
I was a school teacher in my former life when I was younger. I don't do that anymore, but in my former life, I was a school teacher, and we used to do this All About Me board, and I was the teacher, so I always did it first. And the All About Me board had a question on it, said, "Who's one person you admire?" And she was it. She was the one person that I admired. Her name was Diane. And about 5 years into me knowing her and working with her is when my mom passed away. And I went to my mom's funeral. I get thrown back into my family of origin, into all the chaos and all the drinking and all the things, right? Like all the chaos. And I was married to this man at the time. And the day before that I was going to see my dying mother, he decides to tell me he doesn't want to be married anymore. Which to me was no big shocker, but it was really bad timing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on my mom and he's dropping this on me. But again, you're bringing two completely self-absorbed, selfish people into a relationship. So I'm not blaming him. Again, not blaming him. But he tells me he doesn't want to get married. Or doesn't want to be married. And I go to my mom's funeral and he just starts misbehaving. He disappears. I can't get a hold of him. I'm trying to grieve my mom, all the things.
That's a lot.
It was just crazy. And I called Diane from Ohio. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was sitting on my front steps of my childhood home, and I call her and I'm just sobbing and telling her this, woe is me. I'm the victim. My mom has died. My ex-husband's he was my husband at the time, running around. Everybody around here is drinking and acting all crazy. A story for another podcast. My very first boyfriend, who had raped me when I was very, very young, shows up at my house for his condolences. And I'm just like, what is happening right now?
My gosh.
So I'm telling her all of these things. And she says to me something that I will never forget. She says, Mandi, do you ever think that alcoholism is your problem? And of course, I was like, no, alcoholism is not my problem. I could not see it at the time. But it really was. I mean, yes and no. I mean, alcoholism was a problem, but it was really, at the end of the day, there was no foundation of God in my home.
Yeah.
That really was the root of the problem, and
Right.
alcoholism was the solution.
Right.
And so you've got all these people drinking instead of worshiping, really, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and just making bad decisions. And so, I mean, over time, I realized that alcoholism is my problem. And I end up in a 12-step program because of this called Al-Anon. Because of her, because of my ex-husband, all this stuff just comes to a head when my mom dies, right?
Yeah.
And so that begins my journey of
Now, was
becoming
she a part of Al-Anon, or was this
Diane.
just what made you reach out to find more information about alcoholism and how to deal with it?
That's a great question. Yeah, thanks for asking that. So Diane, and I have been given permission by her to share her story. She was in Al-Anon. And again, Al-Anon is the sister program of Alcoholics Anonymous. So
Hmm.
Alcoholics Anonymous is for the drinker. So it's a 12-step program for people who no longer want to drink, where they're an alcoholic, right? A
Yes.
self-proclaimed
Yes.
alcoholic. Al-Anon is for the people whose lives have been affected by someone else's drinking. And so I try to describe this to people as, imagine you have one drinker in your home. Let's say there's a mom and a dad and 3 children, right? Like that's a common occurrence in the US,
Hmm.
right? So let's assume that dad's the drinker, because that's the way it was in my house, and
Yep.
mom is not the drinker, or vice versa in my house. Like sometimes mom, sometimes dad, which is weird.
Right.
My parents never drank together. But at any rate, so you've got dad's a drinker, mom's not
Probably
a drinker,
best.
right? And so then you have these 3 children. So you have one drinker and 4 other people in that house being affected by someone else's drinking, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually a program for more people than AA, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
for one drinker, you might have a whole family affected
Exactly.
by that one person's drinking. And so all of my siblings, myself, my mom, all of us were affected by my dad's drinking. And so I get involved in Al-Anon because Diane herself has been in Al-Anon for almost 40 years today. And
Mm.
her husband, who has also given me permission to talk about it, has been in program for 40 years, and he was the drinker. He's an AA.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so they become a giant part of my life, inviting me to Al-Anon to understand the effects of alcoholism, to understand how it affected me and all of my decisions, how
Hmm.
it affected all my parents' decisions. Yeah. So,
So how did you meet Diane?
yeah, we were working together. We met
You
at
worked with
work.
her.
We had
Okay.
worked together for 5 years. She
Gotcha.
was the person I was telling you that we had worked together, and I always admired her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, my brain's always thinking this way, but I'm just like, just how God works, right? Like, you move, you get a job, you meet this lady, you really admire her, you look up to her. Because in really, if you don't have respect for someone or admire them, you're probably not going to listen to much they have to say, right? So
Yeah,
it's just really cool how it all played out, right?
yeah, for sure. I can today tell you I can see God's hand in all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I had to get to all of these people, to all of these situations, to be broken enough
Yeah.
to see it. Right? Like I there's a great song out there called Closer to God. I don't know if you've ever listened to it, by, I think her name is Ann Wilson. It's called Closer to
Hmm.
God. And she talks
Hmm.
about how she could now see where he was always there, even when she
Yeah.
didn't realize he was there. Like
Yep.
I had turned my back on God when I was in my teenage years, in my 20s, because it was easier not to believe than to
Yeah.
think I had done all this wrong and I was unworthy.
Yeah.
And according to my dad, I was going to hell, right? Because I had broken all of these commandments and sins and all the things that it was
Yeah.
just easier to think, well, if I'm just going to go to hell, it's easier not to believe. And he wasn't ever there for me anyway. Like, I'd just rather not believe.
Yeah.
And that's
That
where
was
I
your
was at that.
thoughts.
That was where I was when I met Diane. I would have told you that there was no God. There was no such thing. At that time, I would have told you I was an atheist, to be honest. That's what I would have
Yeah.
told you.
You were in the fire being refined and didn't even know it.
Yeah. No, I had no idea.
You just thought you were in a fire, period.
Oh, it was terrible, I'll be honest. Like I said, it was that the hardest, most painful season of my life. It was just nothing but difficult.
Yeah. So
I want to talk a little bit more about Al-Anon because I didn't know anything. I had heard of it, but I didn't really know how it works. And I've learned more talking to you. So you found Al-Anon. What was your first meeting like? The first time you ever went in there? What was that like?
Man, I'd love to tell you that I remember that first meeting,
You
but I
don't?
don't. I know when
Really?
it was. I know it was in January of 2005.
Okay.
So I've been in program for 20 years. But I can honestly not tell you what that particular meeting was like. I can tell you I remember telling Diane to come and collect me, like, please come and get me. I want to go. I'm desperate. Life is
Yeah.
hard. I want what you have. Like, I wanted her peaceful, serene life. I wanted a relationship with a good husband, right? Like, she had all those things. She had
You
good
saw something
friends.
in her. Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted what she had, right? And that's the idea of discipleship, right? Is walking the walk. It's attraction over promotion. She wasn't out there
Yeah.
promoting anything to me, but I knew whatever she was doing was working and I
Yeah.
wanted it, right? And so
Yeah.
I go to Al-Anon in the very beginning, and I'll be honest, I didn't want to be there. I can
Yeah.
tell you that I was angry, I was confused, I didn't understand these people at all. Like, because Diane had presented this to me as it's a program for people and you don't have to believe in God, right? Like, I know you and I talked about that, and you yourself thought that 12-step programs were based in faith. They are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are just based on you have to believe in something, a higher power. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe in God. It can be anything. And so when I first got there, I remember being very upset with her because one of the steps says God in it and higher power and all these things. I'm like, you told me I didn't have to believe in God. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back. And she kept saying, do you trust me? And I was like, I do trust you. And she would say, then whatever, like, you don't have to believe in God. It's okay. You can just believe in me. And that's what I
Yeah.
did in the beginning. I just believed that she was a good person and I wanted what she had. And I just
Yeah.
believed in her. And over time, you know, that I would have called Diane my higher power, right?
Yeah.
Because she lived with grace and dignity and the things that I saw, what I thought God should be, right?
Yeah.
And then it became my Al-Anon group, like all the people that I was in program with, they kind of became my higher power until I could soften my heart enough
Yeah.
through working with her and working with these people to believe, okay, maybe there's a God out there, just maybe.
Right. Right.
And you know, it's just like little pieces every time I would go that God was softening my heart. All these people were softening my heart. And I always called it borrowing people's miracles
Yeah.
because they would share in these meetings stories of times that God was there for them. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, okay, maybe if he can do it for them, maybe there's a God, right? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
this, as I said, there's no big aha moment to me where I was just like, all of a sudden there's a God.
Yeah.
It was little bitty baby steps over time
Yeah.
that led me to where I am today. So Al-Anon is an amazing program. I know it's sad to me. I'm on this mission to help people know it's out there. When my husband and I went to marriage counseling during COVID in 2020, we were seeking a marriage counselor that understood us, right? Like,
Yeah.
not all counselors are the same. I know you and I've also had
Yes.
that conversation.
Yes.
You have to find the right one. And I was shocked the number of counselors that I was teaching Al-Anon to, or 12-step
Yeah.
programs in general, because they don't know they're out there. And it's such a secret, and it shouldn't be.
Right. Oh my gosh. Seriously.
It's one of the best self-help programs out there.
Yeah. And
Um,
okay, so Al-Anon is it only for families of alcoholism or any drug use, alcoholism, crutch,
Great
whatever you
question.
want to call
So Al-Anon is for anybody's whose life has been affected by someone else's drinking.
it. Okay.
So it is definitely for
Drinking.
alcoholism. There are
Gotcha.
tons of other 12-step programs out there. Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous. There's Sex and Love Anonymous. There's Codependency Anonymous. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many out there. You just have to find the one that is right. Oh, there's another one that's Adult Children of Alcoholics, which technically I could fit into that one as well. But because my ex-husband was an addict as well, I sort
Mm.
of qualify
Yeah.
for a variety of programs.
You're so funny.
But really, it's funny. At the end of the day, I am my own qualifier. I
Yeah.
mean, once I became an adult and I took these things with me, I was attracting addicts to my life, whether they were
Yeah.
drinkers, whether they were addicted to something else. I mean, it was just that void that we have in us that we're trying to fill, really, that we need to fill with God, but instead we
Yeah.
fill with stuff.
Yep.
You
Looking
know?
for all the things that can help us and heal us when and it's like we're not looking for the one thing that can. We
That's
just
right.
tend to push that one away for some reason
Or
because we're stubborn by nature. It's just,
you don't know.
yeah.
Right? I mean, and for
Yeah.
most people, I will tell you in my circle, just didn't know.
I think, or even if you do know, like, because of my situation, I didn't grow up going to church, but then I started going to church because I wanted my kids to have a better upbringing than I did. And it was like, for all these years, we were going to church and a lot. We were there a lot. But wasn't living, and it's not like I wasn't like, I don't know, just not living the way I live now, I guess I should say. I wasn't opening my Bible every day and really getting into the word. And like, I was still drinking on the weekends and things like that. Well, that had slowly faded away, but it's like you can walk away from that too. Somehow, if you get into like a depression or something, it's just so easy to push that away because you feel guilty. Because, okay, I screwed up and I did this and I did that, and now I'm this terrible person. And the guilt and the shame pushes you further and further instead of drawing you in like it should, because God's grace is like beyond amazing. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
You
Guilt
can be
is
a
a
believer
tricky
your whole
thing.
life and still walk away. And so it just, yeah. So let's fast forward a little bit. And my next question was going to be, what does your relationship with God look like today compared to back then? But I'd like to kind of go in between now and your start with Al-Anon. What's happened in between there? Because like you are married, right?
Yep.
Happily. And so let's get into all the meat of that.
Oh man. Okay, so it's interesting. We probably should back up just a minute. I was married, you're right, before my current husband, and we had a son together. And yeah, there was a huge betrayal there where my ex-husband was having an affair and I found out about it, right? But
Yeah.
by the grace of God, I had wanted out of that relationship, right? And I had some little nuggets, like mustard seeds planted, right, through Al-Anon and the support of this Al-Anon group, right? And so I end up leaving that marriage because I now know that I've got a God. It's not necessarily what we would consider our Christian God, but at this point I have a God of my understanding who I know loves me, who's there for me, and I have all the support of my Al-Anon people, and I leave that marriage. And that was huge. For the first time in my life, I can stand on my own 2 feet, right? I've got a job. I could take care of my own son. I leave that marriage. And it was hard and devastating. Some of the hardest years of my life. But at the same time, some of the happiest years of my life, right? That I can live one day at a time and know that God is going to take care of me. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to pay bills. And I'd get a pink slip from the electric company. But I was still happy. I knew today I had electricity. Today I had food on my table. Today,
And you had faith.
Today
The
God was
faith.
providing. Yeah, today
Yep. That
God's
brings you
providing a
through.
safe environment.
Yeah.
I've got a home. I've got all the things, right? And so like I'm starting to feel God's miracles, right?
Yeah.
For myself rather than just borrowing them from other people.
Yeah.
And so the time goes on, I continue to show up in Al-Anon and work on myself, which were all new things. I'm learning all these new tools of let go and let God and live one day at a time and detach with love, learn about forgiveness and grace, all those things that I'm learning in Al-Anon. And then I enter back into the dating world and I marry a lovely man. As you said, I am married today. And he's been a solid, amazing human in my life. And I did it so differently the second time around. My sponsor, and again, 12-step programs have sponsors, just like A does. Our Al-Anon program has a sponsor. My sponsor and I sat down and we did things like write a relationship vision. Like, what do you want in a marriage this time? Which were never things that I had ever thought about before. I want somebody who lives with integrity. I want someone who wants to grow with me. I want somebody who goes to work every day and makes a paycheck.
Yeah.
Who treats me with respect. Things that I'd never done before. So that was huge, huge, huge part of my journey. And he's been a huge part of my journey, right? Yeah. And so fast forward, we're growing together today. And as I said, was baptized back in March, and has been an amazing, huge part of my journey. I was blessed again to have God put amazing women in my life who have been a huge part of that journey for me.
Yeah.
I've been part of this exercise group called F4, which is a faith-based workout group, and there's a bunch of women, and really they're the ones that set me again on this path of Christianity and finding God and Jesus. So that's been amazing.
I think it's so cool. When you told me about that, I was like, what? That's so awesome. I wish you and I lived closer. I'm telling you, we would so be hanging out all the time. And okay, so that leads me to my next question. You and your husband, you love biking together. So I'd like to hear, like, what do these bike journeys mean to you? And these are some journeys, okay? Like, when I say journey, I'm like miles and miles and miles. I was blown away when I saw your post. I'm like, what is she doing?
I know, biking. I love biking so much.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, when I first started an Al-Anon, my sponsor asked me to make a list of 10 things that I liked to do. Right? And I think that's part of the disease of alcoholism, the part of not having Jesus in your life, all the things that you really lose who you are. Mm-hmm. And so when she asked me if I could make a list of 10 things I like to do, I could not. I couldn't say 10 things I like to do.
That's hard.
I could tell you 10 things other people like to do because I was always so focused on everybody else, right?
Yep.
And fixing other people and trying to make them behave, that I had lost track of who I was. And so biking, I learned from my husband. And when I first met my husband, I was a runner and I was a swimmer. I loved running. I loved swimming. I loved country dancing. There were all kinds of things that I like to read, other things.
Yeah.
But he was a bike rider. And I remember telling him, I will never ride a bike. But again, it's that whole idea that I told you earlier in this podcast that I said, it's the idea of attraction over promotion. He never pushed bike riding on me. He just loved doing it. His dad, his brothers, his friends, everybody would go on these great bike rides. And one day I was like, well, I want to do that too. Like, they're having so much fun. I want to give it a go, right? After I'd told him I would never ride a bike.
Yeah.
So I started my journey maybe 15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that, where I just was like, oh, I'll try it out. And the evolution of bike riding for me has been constantly changing. It was just a casual rider to a competitive rider to doing some triathlons, back to being a casual rider to today, where I am now doing some gravel bike riding, which I love. I love riding my bike in gravel. And we do some pretty crazy adventures over the summer. We rode our bike across Missouri.
Yeah.
I won't say I'm racing or anything of that nature, but I do love to be out in nature riding my bike and trying new things and trying new adventures. A year ago, I rode my bike, and I think it was like 120 miles in gravel one day. I will tell you, I never need to do that again, but I tried it.
Like, you have to say this again. Okay, you did what? Repeat that.
I rode my bike. There's a bike ride. I think it's in Hico, which is just outside of Dallas, I think. And it was 120 miles in one day in gravel.
120 miles?
Yeah, and it was so hot. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to.
In Texas.
It was pretty hot. I remember turning onto the tarmac because there was a small section that was actually paved, and it was really hot, and the tar was really hot, and you could smell it. You could smell the heat coming off the tires on the bicycle because it was so hot, and they were running out of water. Everybody was running out of water. It was crazy. It was a crazy adventure.
Goodness.
I'm glad I did it. I never need to do it again.
That's wild. That is wild. 120 miles.
But I do like to try
on
new
gravel.
Things. Yeah, that is part of who I am. I do like to try new things.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love it. You make me want to get a bike. I wanted to get a bike for years, but I want one of those little like cruiser bikes, like the beach.
I could see that. I just think it's so much fun to see the country from a bicycle because you can stop and you can look at things and you can have conversations, and it's just very freeing to me.
Do you ride on the streets here? Because I'm telling you, like, I have a motorcycle and I don't really ride it much anymore, but I'm like, that's scary enough with all these people on these roads out here. Like, I can't imagine riding a bicycle.
It's funny. My husband and I just had a conversation. We saw a motorcycle weaving in and out of traffic between cars.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said, well, he's got a death wish. And my husband
Yeah.
said, well, we get on our bikes on the roads, right? Like it's no
Right.
different.
Right. I know, because I'm telling you, there's some crazy drivers around here.
Yes,
I don't know.
I don't love riding on the roads anymore. I'll be honest. I
Yeah.
much prefer riding on a path, riding in the park. I much prefer riding gravel in the country. Yeah,
Right.
the traffic here in Houston is getting a little overwhelming. It's too much.
It's crazy.
We're
Yeah,
growing
it's crazy.
exponentially, so it's
Definitely.
it's a lot. Yeah, but I do love my bike. I'm so grateful today that I can say that I have healthy hobbies.
Yes. Yeah.
That's one of
It's
them.
so good for you. Just that mentally, all of it. It's just great. And then
I-
you're seeing the outdoors and you're just getting to see new things, and it's just amazing. It's
Can I
great.
tell you a fun story that happened to me
Yeah.
on a bicycle just recently?
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, we were riding on the roads here in Katy, Texas, and I was in a peloton, like a group of riders, and I was a little uncomfortable. Some things were happening, and it's a group that I always ride with. I know all these people, but there was some, I don't know, some little things happening that were making me a little uncomfortable and a little feeling unsafe. And I'm rolling along and I'm praying. I pray on my bicycle all the time.
Good.
This is
Yeah.
something that I do. I talk to God on my bike all the time. I
That's
had a
good.
similar experience when I was on that 120 mile, by the way. Let me back up just really fast.
Oh, I've been begging him. I can't do this.
A little fun fact. I was on that morning, I was praying and meditating before I went on that 120-mile journey, saying to God, just help me through this. I really want to finish this. If I don't finish it, it's your will, but I really want to. And so we're riding along and you meet people, right? All the time when you're out riding in these big events. And this man ends up riding with us and we're having a chat and I don't know how we got talking about God, right? And I'm telling him that I'd been praying and meditating and he's telling me, oh, I was doing the same thing this morning. And so we're having this lovely conversation. And so he's riding in front of me at one point, pulling me in the wind, right? Like it's called drafting. And I look down and he has a giant tattoo of a cross on his calf.
Yeah.
And we end up riding the entire 120 miles with him, my husband, myself, and I. And he, the whole time is saying, you can do this, Mandi, you can do this. We got this.
Yeah.
God is with us. Like God put him in my life that morning.
Yeah.
And we all ran out of water that day, like completely out of water when it's 100 and some degrees. We're in the middle of nowhere. And his wife happened to drive by us in her truck randomly. Like she wasn't looking for us. She just happened to see us, pulls over and says, oh, I've got a whole bunch of water in the cooler of my truck, in the back of my truck.
Oh my gosh.
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, God wanted me to finish that.
There's no such thing as coincidences.
He put that man in my life and his wife and I finished that event and I just cried. They waited for me.
Yeah.
The last 5 miles of that, see, I'm going to cry. The last 5 miles of the bike ride was so hard for me.
Yeah.
And he and my husband waited for me and said, we will not finish this ride without you.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful when I crossed that finish line that
That's
God
amazing.
put that man in my life and my husband.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without them.
Right.
My husband wouldn't have either because we both ran out of water without him.
Right.
Like it was so crazy to me.
Anyway,
fast forward to this last weekend on this bike ride that I'm at. I'm rolling along in this really uncomfortable situation and I have this terrible self-soothing thing. It's cutters, you know how when they cut themselves.
Yeah.
And I developed it when I was young over anxiety where I bite my tongue, I bite my cheeks, like I bite my lips, like till they bleed. And it's a form of that same idea of self-soothing. And I've been praying and asking God to take that from me, right? Like I'm like, I don't want to be anxious anymore. Like and anyway, and so I find myself biting my face while I'm on this bike ride. And I'm praying and all I hear, and I think I told you and Rachel this, I hear in my head, don't you trust me? Like, and I'm like looking around like, who said that?
Yeah.
It was so weird. And then of course I start second guessing myself. Like, am I hearing things? Am I making that up? Like, is that real? Like, what is happening right now? And that don't you trust me has been on my heart every day since then. When I start to bite my face, it immediately pops into my brain and it's like, don't you trust me? Your anxiety is stemming from your distrust.
Yeah.
That you're not putting your will in my life's hands. You're not laying everything down for me. And I'm so grateful that happened on my bicycle because I love my bicycle.
Right.
And yeah, so I pray on my bike. I pray and I meditate on my bike all the time. It's just, as you said, like, it's just a place for open spaces.
Yeah.
Because you can't have your phone on you. You can't be doing those things because you'll be unsafe, right? And so you're
Right.
just in your own head the whole time, right? And so what else do you have to do but talk to God?
Yeah. No. I mean, and that is, I get it. That's why I'm getting rid of my motorcycle. I'm not gonna ride it anymore. I know it's dangerous, and I feel like God has told me that it's time to get rid of it. I don't need to ride it anymore. But in that season, I needed that so bad because the same thing, like you go out and you ride. I would go out Sam Houston National Forest and just it's so beautiful out there, and it just soothed my soul so much. It helped me so much just to, like you said, just be in your own head and you got to concentrate and like you said, be safe. And so it was just kind of that same concept. Like all I could think about was writing. And it was just a nice, peaceful time to myself. So I totally get it. It's got to be like the same thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I do miss that. So maybe I need a bicycle and I just ride in the woods where it's safer.
Yeah, yeah, and
Maybe that's what I need to do.
you have great areas up by where you live to do that.
Yeah, we really do. It's gorgeous right here. So
Well, I'm happy to teach you if you want to know how.
I know. I've thought about it. I think about it a lot because we talk about this a lot. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I think I could see myself making a hobby out of that, but I got to talk my husband into it. I want him to. We need to find things we can do together. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
It's good to have good, healthy hobbies to do together as a married
yeah,
couple.
yeah.
Yeah,
We were
my
into rock
husband
climbing for a while, but
Right,
yeah,
I love that my son rock climbed, but I'm one of those people where I want to be outside.
yeah. I like to be outside too. And rock climbing was great. I just like I loved it when I did it, and it was just kind of like, okay, moving on. It's kind of one of those things. Let's find something else to do.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your podcast. Can we talk about that?
We can
How
talk
did
about
you
my podcast.
get it started?
Oh my goodness.
Like, what brought you there? What brought you, like, were you just like, I want to know the story behind it?
I honestly, it's COVID. I'm going to blame COVID.
There were
No,
some good things that came from COVID. I'm just
I
going to
will
say.
tell. Yes, there are some good things that came from COVID. I have, as I said, I've been on this 20-year journey. Prior to being an Al-Anon, I didn't understand introspect and self-growth and progress and looking at myself, all the things. I've been blessed with learning how to do that through Al-Anon. And then in 2020, during the pandemic, my husband and I found ourselves in a situation where, I think like a lot of other Americans, we were unique that we struggled. I struggled as a person, he struggled as a person, and of course we struggled in our relationship.
Mhm.
And again, no foundation of God still. Like I
Right.
want to make that clear. Like I believed in God at the time. I don't know whether my husband did or not, but that wasn't a foundation in our home, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
again, let's plug that piece in there. So we're struggling, and we were exposed to Tony Robbins, and I fell in love with Tony Robbins when we were exposed to him. And I think you and I were at that same summit back in 2020, which was the first time that I'd ever heard Tony Robbins speak in person. And I was so enamored with him, I started reading and listening to his
Mhm.
podcasts. And then my husband and I, through this difficulty that we were having trying to figure out, like, what's the next step? How do we work on our relationship? Figured out that Tony Robbins was going to be in Dallas.
Mhm.
And so he said, "Hey, you want to go to a Tony Robbins conference?" And I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah."
Heck
I was
yes.
so excited. I was so excited. And it changed my life. It really and truly changed my life once again. I've got
Yeah.
all this work. And again, I think God keeps, as our friend Camilla says, dropping these ping pong balls of God in my life, right? Like all these
Yeah.
weird things keep happening and they're bouncing all around. I've got Al-Anon in my life, the little bit of seeds that my dad's planted. Now I'm having some Tony Robbins and Al-Anon, all the things, right? Like all these little things keep happening. And so I go to this Tony Robbins conference and I do, again, a lot of deep work on myself
Yeah.
and a lot of work on mine and my husband's relationship, which is an aside, right? Like that's a totally story for another podcast. But so I'm looking at myself and I'm trying to figure out, like, why am I so unhappy? And I realized one of the things that I really struggled with as an adult was I was afraid of learning new skills.
Mm.
And the other thing I learned about myself was I really did want to tell my story to people. I didn't want people to suffer the way in which I had.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people knew about Al-Anon. And I was learning that through the marriage counseling that we were trying to do, that all these therapists didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
And I'm such a product of that. And so I realized through those 4 days of working in this Tony Robbins conference that I want to share my story. And my husband had been encouraging me to write a book, but I wasn't a big reader when I was younger. And I didn't feel like that was a way for people to hear my story. And one of the things that he said was start telling people what you want to do, right? Like start telling people, just get out there and start telling people, don't be afraid, right? And so during this conference, I realized I don't want to be afraid to tell people anymore that I'm an Al-Anon. And that was something I never told anybody, like never. I was so ashamed of my family history, of my having been married, having had abortions, all the things. I was so ashamed about it. Tony Robbins during that conference made me go, tell people your story. You should tell people your story, right?
I love that.
So that sets me on this trajectory of starting this podcast. And that's where the word monomyth comes from, because during that conference, it's the first time that I'd ever heard the word monomyth. And he talks about it a lot in his work, that everybody's on their own hero's path, right? You're the hero of your own story. You have to be the hero. And so that's how we ended up starting this podcast, myself and my two colleagues, that we wanted to share transformative journeys, people who look at situations, bad situations, as opportunities to grow. Now, it's not necessarily a Christian podcast, but I will tell you, in every single guest that I've ever had on my show, it's miraculous to me that God and Christianity and faith are constantly woven into these conversations.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. And I know that we've talked about it a little bit. If you'd have really pushed God and Christianity at me in the beginning, I would have shut you down. We wouldn't have been able to be friends. And so for me, I had to be baby stepped, which is kind of how I look at our podcast. Like, we're giving everybody the opportunity to tell their story, and they're going to get where they're going to get. It seems like most people get that piece of it, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
But that's really, I want people to have a safe place to tell, this is what my life was like for me, my growing up in alcoholism, to this is what really gave me the push to do something different. I don't want to live this way anymore. And it was my ex-husband, my mom, having a child, like all the things that really pushed me into, I don't want to be that way anymore, right?
Yeah.
And then what does that look like on the other side? Because the beauty of it is in Al-Anon, I learned to serve, right? And it's the same message I get from church. My job is to serve others, right? My job is to disciple others, right? My job is to tell people my testimony, my story, all the things, right? And so that's sort of how this podcast, The Monomyth Diaries, got started. Was it's just an opportunity for people to share, this is what my life was like, this is what caused me to change, these are the tools and the things that I'm learning along the way, and these are the ways that I'm giving back to the world, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a foundation, whether you're discipling people, whether you're starting podcasts, writing a book, doing some mentoring, whatever it is that you're doing on the other side, what is it that you're doing to give back to the world? Because you can't keep it to yourself. You got to give it away.
That's awesome. I love it so much.
Yeah. And you got to do that.
Yeah. And like I said, it was the scariest thing I've done maybe ever. I was super nervous. And I think I told you that, like, I almost chickened out the day before. I was just going to call you in the morning and be like, oh, I'm not feeling well. Or I was trying to talk myself out of it. And like you, it was just one of those, I heard the Lord saying, trust me. And it's not about you, Stephanie. It's like, it's not about how I feel and what I'm feeling, because I'm worried about me and my feelings. What are people going to think? What are people going to say? It's not about me. I need to just share my story, and somebody needs to hear it. And I know that. And like I told you, I wasn't sure if I was even going to share about the affair until literally as we were sitting there, I just prayed about it and prayed about it and prayed about it. And I was like, Lord, if that's what you want me to do, just make it happen. And he did. And it was so healing for me. So I appreciate you and your podcast more than, and there's so many others that do too. I know that. So just you're doing great things and I love it.
I appreciate that, and I feel the same way about you. I know God put us together for a reason.
Yeah, I
You've
think so.
absolutely changed my life for the better.
Yeah, same. And it's just I've met so many amazing women since I've lived here, and specifically the last couple of years because I've joined WC and stuff, but and put myself out there because I never really did that before. But just man, it's I don't know. God's good. I'm so thankful.
I know, me too. I'm so
So
grateful every day. I never thought I would have friendships like this before.
yeah.
I never felt worthy. I never felt like
Mm,
what's that, imposter syndrome or whatever. I never felt like I
right.
had something to give to a relationship like that. I just, yeah, I feel blessed every day that God keeps putting these people in my life. I know that's one of the things I pray for all the time is God put good people in my life, please. I just
Yeah.
need the right people in my life.
Yeah.
And
Well,
keep doing that.
I had walls up. I was a wall person. My upbringing was like a lot of hurt. And so I put walls up. So I was like, I don't need people. I don't need friends. I got enough friends. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those things. And I have 100% changed in that. Like I love people so much now and I just see them differently. And so it's just been great. But so looking back on your life, the trauma, the heartbreak, faith, the healing, what do you think God's been trying to tell you or show you all along?
Oh man, I think it I think he's been trying to show me to trust him, that he's been there
Mhm.
the whole time. The whole time. And even when I couldn't see him, he was there. When I couldn't hear him, he was there. And I know we talked about favorite scriptures, and mine is Ephesians 3:20, where it says, I will give you more than you asked for. Be patient and trust me.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know that I've ever had that trust until recently.
Yeah. That's common for a lot of people. That's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's been trying to show me this whole time. My pastor said something to me that was life changing when I called him when I started reading the Bible, and I said, Pastor Donnell, I don't understand, why is all of this in the Bible? All of the lying and the deceit and the cheating and all the
Yeah.
things. I don't understand. Like, why am I reading this? And he said, Mandy, God uses the broken. And I
Yeah.
think that's what he's been trying to show me. To trust him, I had to be broken for me to learn that.
To open up. Yeah. To be open
Yeah.
to things and yeah, when we're at our rock bottom, we need
Oh,
him. We need him.
yeah.
So,
I
man.
don't, yeah. And I think, as I said, it was never any big aha moments for me. It's just been chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. What is that? Like the Statue of David or whatever. Just
Yeah.
chipping away at me,
Yeah.
little bits at a time. But he
What
got in.
advice? Like if I were to ask you right now, if somebody's listening, like if someone is like maybe they still feel stuck in addiction or shame, abortions or betrayal, what would you say to them?
Oh man, me, I don't give advice. I don't believe in advice. That's a part of our podcast is I'm not an advice giver.
Yeah.
My if I was going to impart wisdom on somebody, I mean my thing would be to listen to other people's experience, strength and hope, right?
Hmm.
Surround yourself with people who have what you want, right? Like
Yeah.
that's in my experience what I had to do is start plugging myself into communities of people who have what I wanted. If I
Yes.
had to share my experience and what started changing my life was looking at Diane and saying, I want what she has,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to do whatever it is that she's doing to have what she has, right? So in my experience, that's what worked for me. So for me, if that's what I'm going to share, I would share that experience
Yeah.
of all the times that I start putting myself in circles of people who have what I want. Like today, I'm finding that I talk to more Christian people, more believers when I have a problem, because those are the people who have what I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what's next for Mandy? Any dreams or plans that God is stirring in your heart?
Oh my goodness. I'm praying a lot these days because I'm struggling with what to do next.
Mhm.
My heart says to continue with the podcast. I love doing it. I
Mhm.
learn a lot every time I talk to a guest, and I hear from other people that they're learning a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on writing my memoir, which is difficult because it stirs up a lot of memories.
Yes.
So whether or not that ever goes anywhere or not, whether I ever publish it or not, I don't know. But for
Yeah.
today, it's therapeutic and it's helping me do a lot of healing.
I've heard that before. Like, even if you don't make a plan, right? Write the memoir and then go from there. Like, you don't necessarily have to publish it, but it's healing just to write it and have it for yourself.
Yes, you have to let go of the results.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, just do it and let go of the results. And that's what I met with a lady once, and she said, just write it. Like you said, just write it and let go of the results.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where this is going to go, whether anything will ever happen to it. You may get to the end of it and go, I don't want to publish it.
Right.
Or you may get to the end and go, man, I really want to do this. So I don't know.
I like that you're doing it though. That's
I
great.
don't know. I would love to get into doing some public speaking. I'm trying to learn how to do that. I really want the message of Al-Anon to be more publicized.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a unique position where I can talk about it because both of my parents are deceased. I'm no longer married to my ex-husband. My current husband is a civilian, as I call him. He has no addiction in his family himself, or he's just a regular old civilian, normal person. I don't know what you want to call him. I jokingly call him a civilian. He's a lovely man with no addictions.
Yeah.
So I don't have any addiction in my immediate circumstances now. So I feel like I've got a unique position where I can talk about it, where a lot of people don't. A lot of people are married to a recovering alcoholic, and if they get out there and say, I'm an Al-Anon, then people are automatically going to know their husband is an alcoholic.
Right.
And there's a lot of stigma attached to that. I don't have any of that anymore, so I feel like God is giving me this platform to be able to talk about and say, y'all, it's out there.
Yeah.
There's this wonderful 12-step program out there, and the disease of alcoholism affects so many people, so many people. I think there is something like 46 million people have some sort of substance abuse issue right now.
Oh, I am not surprised. Yeah.
You know, and if you think that's
broken.
Right, if there's 46 million people who have a substance abuse problem, how many people have been affected by that?
Yeah.
Siblings, children, spouses, parents. I mean, the number is astronomical, and it's a secret. We don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
Everybody should know it's out there, just even if they never needed to know that it's a tool. There's something there to help people, because we are just as damaged growing up in it or being married to it as the person who's drinking, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I comparing but not comparing, but it's kind of the same with affairs. And that's something my husband and I have talked about, is like, once I started opening up about our situation and me having the affair with a coworker, and like, I could not believe how many people were like, oh yeah, that happened to us, or I did the same thing, but like you said, there's such a stigma behind it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to, but it's like, I just feel so strongly that it needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, I think it does.
It's just such a big secret.
It is a dirty secret, right? I mean, I know prior to my ex-husband, so in all my relationships, I don't know why, for some reason, marriage to me was like this line in the sand. But prior to that, every other relationship that I had ever been in, I had an affair. Like, even though they were just dating partners, right? Like, we weren't married, but I had affairs. Like, I cheated on them all the time and never thought twice about it. Like, I just was so selfish, and I did it all the time. Yeah. And it's it is out there. People do it. And yeah, I was
Yeah.
so grateful for your episode, because I used to, like you said, to be the judgy of all judges. Like, who
Oh
am I
man,
to
I was
judge?
the
Like,
worst. I was
who's
the
I?
worst. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I'm so grateful. Now I can look at it and go, oh, yeah, like it's a sin like all the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's something recoverable. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
I'm so
just got to
thankful
use
for
it
you.
for the good, just like you. Use it for the good and just try to make beauty from ashes. That's the goal. That's my goal.
It is.
So I like to end each episode and ask my guests what their favorite scripture is and maybe a little bit why or what the reason is for that, why it sticks out to you.
Yeah, I think we shared this one just a few minutes ago, but I'll share it again because it is my favorite. It's Ephesians 3:20. I will give you more than you asked for. Be patient and trust me. And I think I'm at a place in my life right now that I need patience, because sometimes I want the answer right now.
Yeah.
And if I don't get the answer, I will try to force my will
Yep.
and come up with all these solutions. And then I'll go around and I'll poll everybody. Like, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Right? I
So
want to know the
true.
answer. Like, I want to
Oh
know
my
everybody's
God.
ideas instead of going directly to the source. I mean, really
Yeah.
and truly, I should pray first and be patient and listen and wait for the answer. Right?
Oh, girl.
And
Yeah.
then trust that even if I don't get a response right away, just to sit and be still
Right.
and
Or
wait.
you might not get what you want at all. It might not ever come.
Yeah.
He's been working on that with me, the patience and the
It's a daily for me now. It's daily.
resting. Yep.
And when you have adult children, which I know you do,
Mm-hmm.
no one told me that being the parent of an adult child was harder than when they were children in your
Yeah.
house. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm dealing with today. And it's a constant conversation of, oh,
It's different.
man, God help me keep my mouth shut.
It's
My
different.
son said last night, we were having a conversation and he was telling me something I really didn't want to hear. And
Uh-huh.
he says to me, I could tell by your silence that you're unhappy. But that's improvement for me. Like,
We
just
just
be
need time
quiet.
to process things, right? Like, and not to say anything, right? You were just quiet. So
I'm just being quiet
you're
because
processing.
if I don't know what to say, if I don't know the answer,
Yep.
right? Like, it's best to be quiet and be patient and
That's
know that
right.
I'm going to have to pray about this and do a little bit of work and self-reflection and get,
Yeah.
as you've been teaching me, get in the Word and read
Yep.
my Bible and try to figure out, like, what is happening.
Yeah. I do it all the time. And then I'm reading and I'm just like, nope, I gotta stop. I gotta pray. I'm like, okay, help me comprehend what I'm reading right now because I'm not getting none of this is soaking in. And then I'll start over again. But it's like the more I'm in it, the more I understand, the more I comprehend. I read the Bible so differently than I used to. It's weird, but you just gotta be in it every day, even if you're not getting anything or you think you're not, because you are. Just keep doing it every day.
I find that I'm a person who will text people, or as I told you, I get on Google or ChatGPT or something
Yeah.
and say, give me a scripture about, or tell me where to read about this in my Bible because I'm feeling really
Right.
upset, or like I need to know some
Yeah.
ideas. And at least I'm there. At least I go there.
Totally. Yeah. No, that's great. But the more you read it, then you'll remember it. And it's like, okay, I know I can go here and find at least something to do with this. I don't know. I've been in the Word a lot lately. I just can't get enough of it, which is it's great. I love it, but it's just different for me. So I hope he keeps that fire in me because I don't want to stop.
Yeah, well, you're definitely inspirational to me. I truly appreciate you modeling that for me and encouraging me to do the same. So
it's all him, girl. It's all him.
And I appreciate all the texts that you send me all the time.
Yeah.
Telling me,
yeah,
this scripture, that scripture. I really appreciate you so much.
I feel prompted a lot, and some people might get annoyed by it. I don't know, but I just feel like sometimes when I'm reading something, people will come to my mind, and I just feel like he's telling me, like, they're there for a reason. Send it to them, or so that's what I do.
I'm not gonna be annoyed, so I really appreciate it. I got up the other day. I was like, oh look, Stephanie's messaging me first thing in the morning. Yay!
Oh, I just love you. Well, and I can't wait. We're meeting for lunch next week, so I'm super excited. I can't wait.
I know,
can't
for your
wait.
birthday.
Yeah, so it'll be nice. But I truly appreciate you being on this show
Oh.
today. It was so
I-
nice.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be asked. It's an honor to share my story.
I
I'm so
love it.
grateful to God. It's all God. Everything that's happened in my life
Yes.
right now. All the people and all the things that he keeps putting in my life and in my path. All the praise to him for sure.
Yep. And I'm going to put a link to your podcast in the show notes so that everybody can go listen to your amazing podcast. So again, just thank you for being here.
All right. Well, thanks
All
again.
right.
I appreciate you letting me
Talk
share my
soon.
journey of Al-Anon and finding God
Yes.
and Jesus
Yes,
and all
girl.
the things. So thanks.
Amen. All right.
Bye.
Today's conversation with Mandi was raw and real. Your past might be messy, but God's grace is bigger. Healing takes time, one faithful step at a time. And her story reminds us redemption is never off the table. If this encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs hope. And go check out Mandi's podcast, The Monument Diaries. Her details and a direct link to the show are in the show notes. Thank you for joining me here on Beyond Beauty with Stephanie. Until next time, remember, you are not alone, and beauty is not just what you see in the mirror. It's the soul God is shaping within you.